Hey everyone, we're having technical difficulties. So Karen is on the phone with me right now and she's trying to figure out how to join the room. Let me just copy this event and I'm going to send it to you in Messenger, Karen. So Karen is on the phone with me right now and she's trying to figure out how to. So what is beeping? My phone is beeping. Everything's happening all at the same time. So today we're going to talk about the KonMari process and Komono is the category we're going to talk about today. So the idea here is that you go through each of the 5 categories in the KonMari process. You start with clothing, and then you go to books, and then you go to paper, and then you go to Komono, and then finally you end with Sentimental. And so the idea here is that you're going to go through these categories in order of easy to hard, okay? And excuse me, the idea is that you want to sort of strengthen your choosing muscle while you're going through the categories this way. And I like to start people in the clothing category by piling all of their things on the bed, and then you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to be overwhelmed by the number of things that you have, and that's the point. And you're going to then that will help strengthen your choosing muscle. Then you end up doing the same thing with books, and you end up doing the same thing with paper. And right now we're on the Komono category. And so that's category number 4. And that sort of bleeds into Sentimental at some point, because you end up having things that you've sort of pushed into the Sentimental category, and you end up sort of dealing with them at the same time. So I'm still hoping that Karen will be able to join us and talk about her. She's a client of mine, and she's also a Reiki master, and she would be able to share with us her thoughts and how she feels about going through the KonMari process. So I'm just trying to get this. Let's see if she can see that. Sorry. So today we're talking about Komono, and Komono is the biggest category, and it's also the hardest category because it is the biggest category. And it's everything that Komono means miscellaneous in Japanese, and the idea is you're going to go through everything that is not one of the other categories. So you're going to go through your linen closet, you're going to go through your pantry, you're going to go through your garage, you're going to go through your music and your DVDs, and photos is typically saved until the Sentimental section. But you could absolutely do that. You can go through your kitchen. You can go through everything that isn't a book, clothing, a book, a paper, or Sentimental. So that's everything in your house, pretty much everything. So the things that are on the walls, the things that are, oh, Karen's here. She's trying to get in. So the things that are on your walls, the things that are on the floor, the things that are inside a cupboard, the things that you sort of ignore, the things that just have been sitting there for a really long time. And you ignore the thing that we talked about. We were just on Clubhouse and we did a little 30-minute spiel talking about this category as well. And the thing that we talked about there was these bags that Karen had found when when we got into her linen closet. And the idea was that she had moved 3 times. Oh, here, we're going to Karen to get it. Yay, there we go. It's Karen. Woo.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So I was just explaining the categories, the 5 categories, and I was explaining that we're in Komono today, and that we were in your linen closet and we had discovered bags. And the idea there was that you had moved them 2 or 3 times. And I was explaining that the idea behind bags is that, you know that you have company coming over. And so all of a sudden you sort of do a mad dash around your house and you fill a bag full of stuff. And now your house looks better, but that bag has to go somewhere. And so for Karen, it turned out In previous homes, she'd collected these bags, and then they ended up living in her linen closet, amongst other places. But the linen closet is the one we were dealing with that day. And so she ended up, please tell us, Karen, who is my guest today, and licensed Reiki teacher and master, and owns her own business, and has been working with me since December. And we figured out during our clubhouse today that it's been 118 hours that we've been working together. And that's usually in a 3-hour session. So you can, do your little math division there and figure out how many sessions we've had together. But please tell them what we discovered in your bags in your linen closet.
Yeah. So I was talking about Reiki, how Reiki works to break up blockages, energetic blockages. And I discovered through working with Shanley that what I had done was I made my outer environment match my inner environment. It was all blocked up, clogged up, and Komono was really difficult for me because I had shoved so much stuff under the bed, into cabinets, in the dark recesses of the kitchen cabinets, in the bags of these bags. There was one in particular. She says, "What's in there?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't even want to look." And there were batteries, lipsticks, like the lid had come off of one of the lipsticks and smeared everywhere. There were rocks. I found rocks everywhere as we were going through. Like, what's that? Look, another rock.
Okay.
I now have them gathered together.
Put it in the rock bowl.
I said, "Oh, but I love this rock. Like, why do you have so many rocks?" Well, I would pick them up when I would travel somewhere or whatever, and it would just feel really good in my hand, or I'm very tactile. So I now have, right next to my favorite place to sit on the sofa, I have a little rock bowl where I can play with my rocks now.
Yay!
Yeah, that sounded bad. But they were in those bags, and Komono was very difficult for me because I had to just pull stuff out and deal with it. And so the bathroom cabinets, linen closets, those now are, in fact, the whole bottom shelf of my linen closet has nothing, absolutely nothing there.
And the top one has
nothing.
A comforter.
Yeah, it does. It does have the comforter that I won't get very often.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult I'm almost 58, and I've had like hip replacement and all sorts of things, and I'm not that mobile, at least not like I was in my 20s. And so Shanley helped me as I was putting things back, So you have to pull it all out, and then you have to deal with it. And that's a metaphor for what I was going through with my life, like pull out all the junk and deal with it. And Shanley, I'm sorry that you had to deal with me as I do this.
That's my job, as a matter of fact.
I just, like one of my friends said, "Are you sure you have to pay somebody to do this?" And I was like, "Yes, because I can't. It's too hard. It's too hard. I would have done it before." I'm a pretty strong person, because, well, isn't that maybe psychologically they call that compartmentalizing?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. I can't deal with this right now, so I'm just going to shove this into this cabinet. Well, Komono is not for the faint-hearted. It's pulling all that out.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it wasn't so bad, like my media cabinet under the TV. I had DVDs and CDs, and I used Declutter, this app called, it's DECLUTTR. Being an English professor, that bothers me, but it's just declutter.com. You can go and you download this app, or you can find it on the App Store. And then you can just scan the barcodes, and they add up what they'll give you for them and send you a shipping label, and then you ship them off. So that was really helpful. I got rid of a lot of that stuff. The kitchen was difficult for me. And I don't even spend that much time in the kitchen. I live in a little townhouse now. But I had the back recesses of the cabinet wasn't even necessarily kitchen stuff. If I had a hole to put something, I would just fill it. Just cram it full of stuff. My favorite story about Komono probably is the colander story, which we just told on Clubhouse a little while ago, but it is funny. So Shanley's really good at reading people. So we've been working through Zoom, and I don't know how well, she's super intuitive for one, but she doesn't miss a thing, let me tell you, because there were times like maybe 2.5 hours into a session toward the end, I would get really grumpy, and I'd find something and I'd just kind of move it over here. She go, what was that? What was that you just put over there? I'm like, nothing. like, because I didn't want to deal with it. But this is what I've spent over 50 years doing, is like not dealing with this stuff, not dealing with things. So as I was going through the kitchen cabinets, I had, and I don't even like to cook really, I had 3 different colanders. And she said, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a colander." And then I found another one. She goes, "Oh, so you have 2 colanders?" I'm like, "Yeah, but the one I really use is over here." And it was on the top shelf.
Yet a third colander.
Yeah, so I had to like, and I started laughing when I pulled it out. So the other 2 I didn't use. This is the one that I used, but I was a little embarrassed because the handle of it is all chewed at the end. It was chewed on by my brother's dog. So this is the colander that I had. My mom made me a little hope chest when I was in high school, like 1980. And I had like some mixing bowls that matched and some dish towels. And the only thing I have, no, actually I still have one of the mixing bowls, which I kept also. But this colander, I was a little embarrassed because it was chewed up by the dog. But I started giggling and telling her the story about my brother's dog, Olivia, and when she was a puppy and how she chewed everything and how obnoxious she was. And just kind of, I talk a lot. This is how I process things, apparently. So I told her that story, and she said, "That's the one you need to keep." And I was like, "Really?"
And that was because one of them was up in a cupboard that was really too high for her to reach. The other one, she literally didn't even remember she had. So clearly she wasn't using it. And the first one was sort of, utilitarian, silver, stainless steel, whatever, colander. But this yellow one just made her giggle and laugh. And she had this great story that went with it. And it was a sentimental item because her mom had bought it for her so many years ago. So I said, "That's the one you're going to keep." And she said, "Okay."
Yeah. And so my cabinets now in the kitchen are, there's space. It's not like, I don't know if you have this problem in your kitchen where you like open the cabinet wondering if everything's gonna go boom, 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 down on your head.
Yeah.
So
I deal with that all the time with clients, and I try really hard not to do that myself. I pulled out a drawer the other day because we have a pantry that's tall and it has drawers. And I noticed that I could see through the back of the bottom of the drawer. And I was like, "Oh no, we're going to need to put some nails in this because we're renting." And so I'm going to need to address that situation because, and it's not really even very heavy, the things that are in that. It's like the pasta shelf. But it just feels heavy at some point, when you have too much stuff in your home. And part of the KonMari process is filling things only to 80% full. So that way you can have 20% room to bring new things in, or maybe you discover a new brand of pasta that you just have to have. I recently became gluten-free, and so now all of the old pasta's got to go out and all the new gluten-free pasta's got to come in. But in that middle time where my husband is still eating the regular pasta and I'm also eating gluten-free, it might be a little bit more than 80% capacity, but the goal is to get back to 80% capacity so that you can have this feeling of openness and only use the shelves that you can access. So that, Karen, please speak to the bottom shelf and the top shelf now in your kitchen, in your linen closet, and you're everywhere.
I can reach everything. And what you said about there being clear and open spaces, I can't emphasize enough how important that is. I think growing up in poverty and coming from a scarcity mentality, I think that's part of why I cling to so much stuff. And I told my brother, I said, like, empty open spaces used to make me nervous. Like, oh, well, I need to fill that with something because I don't know, I might need it in the future. But now, okay, so I'm glancing and now I can see that I don't know if you remember, Shanley, but when I cleared off the top of my refrigerator, I said, I have never top of my refrigerator clear. And it's tiny little things like that. But when I glance over there, there used to be a crystal pitcher and some stuff. And then I didn't consciously think it, but I thought, subconsciously, I thought, oh, that stuff is getting dirty,
Yeah.
Next to the stove, and it gets, it just gets yucky. But I look up there now and I think, it's just all open and clear. And I feel open and clear. When I pull open what was my junk drawer, it's still my junk drawer, but now Shanley had me organize it. I've got open space and I've got a little small container that has some twisty ties in it. and I can find things, and that makes a huge difference in how much lighter I feel. You don't really realize how, well, maybe I did.
But you
Um,
ignored it, right?
yeah, or you
Yeah.
think you're ignoring it. I guess I ignored it, but it's taking a toll on you,
Yeah.
even though you're not aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So part of that is like the reason that Steve Jobs always wears the same clothes, a turtleneck and black jeans, is because it reduces the amount of mental fatigue that you have, to the decision fatigue is what it's called, that you have to go through each and every time you make a decision. So it's the same thing as when you get something that has a sticker on the side of it, just take the sticker off. Or if it has a tag hanging off from a little string, clip it off, make it yours, own it. And that way, the next time you look at that item, you don't have to, your brain doesn't have to think about ignoring that item, which is exactly what happens on top of the fridge. You have to think about ignoring the fact that those things are getting dirty. You know they are. Your brain is thinking about it. It's, I always do this to her. Think about this for a little while. Just let it sit right there and think about it for a little while. And then a couple of days we'll come back to that, and Karen will be like, okay, I thought about it, and now I'm going to go ahead and donate that, or I'm going to let that go, or whatever. I'm not going to hang that up there. I'm going to hang it up over here instead because it best suits my goals. And I think the idea of reducing the amount of things that you mentally ignore is the whole point of this process.
Yeah. Um, and letting go of things that I I guess you've rewired my thinking about things too.
Yay.
I mean, well, I talked this morning in Clubhouse about a little sign I had in my kitchen that I loved. I thought it was so cute. I had my boyfriend buy it for me years ago. It had a little shamrock on it, and it said, "I kiss better than I cook."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was funny because I'm not the greatest cook. And but Shanley asked me about this. She goes, "Well, that's not a very positive thing to say about yourself." And I thought, yeah, but it's true. And it was an ex-boyfriend that bought it, and it's all those tiny little things. And it's not that I looked at it and went like, God, I hate that thing. It's this is about conscious living. It's about making conscious choices, and about what you surround yourself with. And she never said, oh, you should get rid of it, or she's never said that, but she planted that seed. And I don't think that's even one of the things where you said like, oh, let's think about that, but I did. And I took it down and thought, no, I think I'm going to put up those little things that say, be inspired, remember to laugh, things like that, something that brings some positivity into my life instead. And as I let go of more and more things, and consciously bring in like, I really like this, and this is what I'm going to put there. And I have so much stuff, 50 years worth of stuff. And I'm really
50 years worth of other people's stuff as
other
well.
people's stuff. Yeah, I made that realization. I think I told Shanley at one point, because I do curse a lot when I get frustrated. And I remember shouting out at one point, like, when did I become the keeper of other people's, I had my dad's stuff, my mom's stuff, my stepdad's stuff, my son's stuff, my brother's stuff. And
Grandpa's stuff.
my grandpa's stuff, and I boxed up a huge box of things and mailed it to my uncle in Oregon, things that I think that he would like to have of his dad's and my dad's, his brother. But I thought, and maybe that's just I guess I'm the only woman left in the family. Oh, what did I just say? Well, my mom, but my dad, my brother, I think as women, we are sort of like the sentimental, the nurturing, and we are the keepers of hearth and home. But then I realized this isn't even my hearth. This isn't even my home.
Yeah.
This is everybody else's
Stuff.
home.
Yeah. And so part of the process of going through those things with me is that I encourage you to think about why you're keeping them. And so I'm not here to force you to get rid of things. I'm not even here to encourage you to get rid of things. I'm here to encourage you to think about why you're keeping what you're keeping. And Marie Kondo always says, keep things with confidence. So if you have this mug and you use it all the time and it's your favorite mug, great, let's keep it with confidence. But if it's chipped and you're keeping it just as a spare, but you actually never drink out of it, let's maybe think about why you're keeping it. And if it's chipped, maybe we should toss it. But if not, let's think about maybe that it could serve somebody else. And so that's the idea of what happened with all of these historical mementos that Karen was holding on to. And so at that point, what I will encourage my clients to do is text that person. Just take a picture of it and text that person and say, do you want this? Because so many times you think that you're going to keep these things because your children or your grandchildren will want them. They don't want your oak furniture. They're not an oak man. Okay. They're not. And so there was a great article in the New York Times just this weekend about a woman who, a Jewish woman who was encouraged by her daughter to go through this process. And what she found out was that she kept all the artichoke plates and all the ramekins because as part of the Jewish celebration process, they have very specific foods in very specific bowls and containers and knives and food that they serve. And so she had 15 baskets, and because this one was for rolls and this one was for baguettes and this one was for bread and this one was for, different kinds of rolls, in fact. And that was important to her, but she was also keeping them thinking that she was going to pass them along, and her daughter didn't want them. She had all of these things of her own already. And so the idea here was she had to sort of let go of the mental idea that she was holding on to these items to give to somebody else, when Karen's son doesn't want her very dark English cupboard where she keeps all of her books, because he likes a minimalist lifestyle and he actually doesn't want books at all, and so he was getting rid of all of the books that she was keeping for him. So it was super useful to be able to just ask the person, do you want this? Because here's the thing, if they want it, are they willing to pay to get it shipped to them as well, or come pick it up? Because if they aren't willing to do those things, they don't really want it that bad. But they're willing to let you store it for them until they do want it. Well, okay, so I'm sorry, when did you become somebody else's storage unit? Why are you paying on storage for someone else? Because that's what's happening, is you're giving up your space for someone else's stuff, or for stuff of your own that you're not really sure you want, or you just haven't really thought about whether or not you want. And so we were able to actually get rid of a good number of things. And so that's part of what has happened in this sort of Komono sentimental blending situation that I'm in with Karen right now. And by the way, I have Karen's permission to talk about all of these situations with her. So she's been saving a whole bunch of artwork and schoolwork and stuff like that from her son. And so she started separating out the things that she absolutely wanted. He wasn't even going to get a say about it because she wanted them, darn it. Then she had all of the other stuff, and he came through and he's like, nope, 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 nope. Okay, I'll keep that. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, I'll keep that. Nope, 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 nope. There was way more nopes than she would have thought. And now there's only this one bag that she has that she's going to keep and put these collages together and put them up in her kids area of her Bagua map and make her heart happy. But you also had 3 whole boxes, containers, huge of them, full of all of his children, all of his artwork from when he was kids. When we were going through them, she was discovering she had menus and, just all these things. It was
like the lunch menus and like, this is what they're doing this week. And what I had done was I knew that I would, at some point, I would want to go through that. So what we've been doing is just like all the things in my life I have not dealt with because I didn't have time, or I didn't have the energy, or I didn't have the emotional stability to deal with it. So I just crammed it and pushed it, and that's what Komono, that's what all of it is. So, but I've had the best conversations with my son. I'm glad you brought that up. The things that I thought he would want, he doesn't want. And then something like, I found a note that I had written him in high school. I can't even remember what, but I think I had just, it was a note I had stuck probably in his lunch. Like, I'm sorry for blowing up at you about blah, 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 blah. We just have to get up earlier, and I hope I didn't ruin your day. And it turns out that he had saved that all these years. And I took a picture of it and sent it to him. I said, hey, I found this. Do you want this? He goes, yeah, I want that. I was like, really? It's like, but you don't want my beautiful antiques? Like, no. So
they're not beautiful to him. They're not beautiful to him. They're not his style.
And this is what the KonMari process is about to me, and Reiki also. It's about like having these conversations and building our relationship. Yeah. Really. as an adult, because he's 22. And I have told him when he started college, I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I want to have a relationship with you as an adult, but I have no idea how to do that. I want to let go of you, but I don't know how. So he's like, okay, we're going to do this. And this has been a good part of that process as well, you know, to let him be, well, one, to not be his storage area.
Yeah.
And to, you know, let him move on. And yeah, that's been great. Another thing somebody asked this morning that I'd like to share is, she said, do you think, because this is such deep emotional work, do you think that this is something that we do at major points in our lives? Do you see yourself doing this process again? And I said, no, because Shanley has taught me how to fish. I mean, I know that I probably will have another big, I hope I will, I don't know.
Transition.
I might train tomorrow, but I may have another big transition in my life, but now I know how to do it. And I'm not, and it's an ongoing process for me. So I'm really conscious. She shifted my whole mindset of creating a home that is full of things that spark joy for me and have a purpose and have a place, and a place where I can live and I can breathe for the first time, I think, in my life. You know, to have empty space and not feel like I need to fill it up with something, anything, you know?
Yeah.
Conscious. It's just conscious living. And I don't see myself ever being in this position to have to do this again.
But so, and here's the thing about that is you may just not realize it. You know, 5 years ago, you didn't realize you needed this, and now you do, because in 10 years, when you retire, you're going to have a completely different mindset about what you should keep in your home. And you might need some guidance about how to move forward to transition your home into a completely different environment. You may actually start focusing on cooking more in that time frame. You may actually not want the office full of office stuff anymore. You may turn it into a guest bedroom because you're going to welcome couch surfers into your home instead. Whereas now you could, but they're literally on the couch. Whereas if in 10 years when you retire, they could have a guest bedroom because that's something that you enjoy. And so people tend to reach out to me during transition periods of their lives. And so it could be when you're starting a new job and you need help with clothing. It could be when you're starting, when you get a child, or, you know, when you become an empty nester, or when all your kids go off to college. It could be when you move and you need to downsize and declutter. It could be when you're transitioning into a community. And you know, an adult active living community, and you need to get rid of 5,000 square foot and move it down into 1,000 square foot. I know how to do all of that as well, but those are huge transitions in your lives. I've moved 29 times in my life, and so I'm well familiar with how to downsize and declutter and then move into bigger space or smaller space and make all of that work. But all of those are transitions that you may need some guidance with. But planned obsolescence is my goal. Teaching you how to fish is the goal. And so if I'm always sitting on your shoulder going, does it make you joy? Does it bring you joy? Does it make you happy? Could somebody else use it instead? I'm happy with that.
Yeah, you're in my head. Well, yeah, I might need guidance, but not
not this again, because the idea here is you've spent 118 hours already going through stuff. I mean, the amount of things that you've taken out of your home that you never have to think about again.
And I don't miss them.
And you don't miss them. And you're starting, so you had 100% of things, and now you're down to this many things. You never have to think about these many things again. So it's going to be way easier to make this your 100% and deal with that now.
Yeah.
Because it's
I
less.
took more clothes. I took some more clothes the other day.
Yay!
Okay, these don't really fit. You know, they got me through my fat winter of COVID. But so I just loaded them up and took them.
Yay!
So I see this being, you know, part of now the sentimental. Well, I guess I don't know. I've kind of shifted on that as well. I mean, I guess I'm still in that process. We'll talk about that next week. But
yeah. But that's the point of going through the process in this order, is because you strengthen your choosing muscle. It becomes so much easier to be able to get to that fifth category. And you've actually made sentimental decisions already all along. Like in your clothing, you know, you move your wedding dress from here to here, or you move your dad's shirt from here to here. And so you've already started thinking about those things. You move your grandmother's jewelry from here to here. You move your graduation gown, you know, from here to here. So it's already something that you are now putting in your consciousness or your subconsciousness, but you're aware you're going to have to deal with it. And so those memories are going to start coming up, and you may actually deal with it here. So that's what, tell them about the picture of you and your wedding.
Yeah, I guess that really was kimono. Everything on the walls.
It was really sentimental.
Well, yeah, I guess it was.
It was, that particular picture was sentimental. And the reason was because you were emotionally attached to it. If it was just a picture on the wall, then it's kimono.
I see. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And we took it down when we first started
Okay,
working.
but start from the beginning of this picture. The very first session with you.
Yeah, I guess so.
You walked me through your house.
Yeah, I was walking through, and it was a huge portrait of myself that my mother talked to me
almost life size.
Oh yeah, it was like huge portrait. She talked me into buying it, and then what do you do with it? I remember I hung it in the dining room and then had candles under it. She said, "Oh, it looks like a shrine." It's like, well, you told me to buy it, and then I did, after I divorced, it was not a happy marriage. I didn't even look happy in the portrait, and so I started just sort of like spewing all this blah about the wedding, the marriage, this, and Shanley said, "Just take that down. Take it down off the wall right now. Take it down." So I took it down and I turned it around, but I couldn't. It sat there for 3 weeks, and I couldn't let go of it. I tried to give it to my son. I'm like, "Son, do you want this picture?" He was like, "No." And I was like, and at first it kind of hurt my feelings. I thought, why would you not want a picture of your mother? He goes, "Well, you look sad in that picture. Why would, you know?" He said, "Plus, what would I do with it? It's so big." I'm like, it's a big picture of me. Someday I'll be dead. You'll want to look at it every day." And he's like,
no.
And I thought, oh, so my son has really helped me too, because he's much more objective. But he's like, "Why would I look at that picture of you?" He said, "I'd rather look at a different picture of you." I'm like, "Oh, okay, so you do love me. It's just like it's that picture." But the other thing was, I paid so much money. I paid like $430 for this huge portrait of myself. And so the other thing was, how do you just throw away $400 portrait? And the other thing is, why would anybody want a picture of a strange, forlorn looking bride? So ultimately, I mean, it was really hard. I put it in the car and I took it to Goodwill, because what do you do with a picture like that? So I pulled it out of the car and I said, do y'all take like portraits like this? And they said, "Yes, ma'am." And because I also tried to give the frame away to somebody. It's like, I don't have anything that big for it to fit in. So I gave it to the Goodwill people. And as they walked away, I went, it's me. It's me. And
they went, "Yay."
Like, and I got in the car and I cried. I mean, I sobbed, cried, because it was a release. It was like, just like, oh, let it go. And I felt good. Yeah.
And now you won't think about that picture anymore when you're having to figure out how to arrange your space to fit Karen and move forward with your goals.
Well, I had it stuck in the closet for 20 years. It's when I moved up here, I thought, I'm going to put this on the wall.
Because I'm supposed to, because it's what I've been told to do. Well, it didn't make you happy, so why are you doing it? Let's think about that.
So,
okay, so we're at 12:45 my time, so we've been on for 40, well, probably half an hour with technical difficulties. What are takeaways for you with Komono that you can share with clients and possible people who, if you're interested in setting up a discovery call, the information's in the chat here.
Yeah, and I would recommend doing that, because as you probably have heard, it's too hard to do by yourself. It's and Komono, it's hard because it's all the stuff. It was all the stuff on my walls, all the stuff that I'd hidden, and it's not fun to pull it all out, but it sure is fun to let it go and to have. I told Shanley in my kitchen, I said, it always bothered me. I knew that that cabinet, I didn't even know what was in there, because when we moved up here, I was like, okay, don't need this right now. So shove it in there. Cause I knew I couldn't get to it. And the same thing under my bed. I had my dad's suitcase we finally went through with Sentimental. We'll talk about that next time. But I had shoved a bunch of stuff under my bed. I have a captain's pedestal bed. And when my son put it together, when I moved up here, I said, okay, that stuff I'm not going to need, but just put it in there, build it into the bed. So he had to take it apart and take it all out, because I wanted to get that out. It's like having a splinter. Komono it's all the miscellaneous stuff, and it can be just like a splinter in your foot. You got to pull it out.
Yeah.
And get rid of it.
Yeah.
Or see, but I found treasures too.
Yeah.
You know? I found the treasures that were mixed up in there. And so that's metaphorical as well. You know, you have to sift through the crap to find the jewels.
Yeah. So now you have all those wonderful pieces of artwork from your son, and you can hang them up on the wall, and they can make you smile every time you go past them, instead of being shoved into a cupboard that you didn't even know they were there.
Do you know, okay, I'll admit this to you. So this morning, so I had all these dolls, and I put some of these goddessy dolls into my goddess corner. Then I have some that are really bright, and one's like one of those Russian nesting dolls. And since the children's area is actually in my bathroom, so I've put those in there, and I play with those dolls. They were stuck in a box.
She's talking about the Bagua map, for those of you who are wondering what the children's area, what? So the Bagua map related to Feng Shui, and I'll put the Bagua map in the discussion here.
Yeah, so that's the children's and creativity area, and I decided to put them out on that little bamboo tiered thing.
Yeah.
I have little dolls, and I was playing with them this morning.
Yay!
I thought, this is silly, but they were in a box on the shelf over my washing machine.
And were they making you happy when you were playing with them?
Making me happy.
That's the point.
So funny. I thought I haven't played with dolls in a long time. Like, what do you think? I don't know. You know. Okay, maybe it's a mental problem, but I don't think so.
No, it's the whole point of that is to increase your creativity. That's the point of the children's creativity area. That's the point of it.
And I thought,
it was working.
I played with a doll.
Yay!
It was really fun.
To each their own. So maybe my creativity area is right here, and it's all pictures that I've taken. I wonder if I can show you.
Oh, cool.
So I took a photography class when I was in college, and I took all of these pictures, and I hired a Feng Shui person. And so all of these pictures this is a door, this is shadows. Anyway, it's all things pictures that I took. And so it's supposed to inspire me to think creatively like I was when I was taking those pictures. So there's different ways of implementing, and even within this room, I'm using the Bagua map. So this is my goals area for my business, and that's why this is my vision board, in fact. So everything on here is my vision board, and the vision board is actually divided up by the Bagua map as well. So this is, the me area, this is the wealth area, and you can see the money pouring into my ideas area. So you can continue to use the Bagua map, even reduce it down to a room. And so that's what we're doing with Karen, is we're figuring out what her goals are. We're using the Bagua map to figure out where things should go in her home, because some things just didn't have a home. And so she would pull out like the Kokeshi dolls that she had, and she knew she wanted them, but she didn't know where they should live. And so then we started thinking creatively about how to stimulate that creativity that she's looking to move forward with her business. And so we put them in the relationship area in her bedroom, because they sort of represented a partnership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, so it's all about, it's just conscious living. And that's how it's with the Reiki for me. Yeah.
And all that does is increase your vibe inside your home, which is the whole point of Reiki, is to increase your energetic vibe and raise the vibe of everybody else around you. And so if you're finding that things are stagnant, or that you're coming up against a challenge repeatedly, we need to figure out what the block is. And it could be the 27 pairs of socks in a drawer that's really meant to hold 10. Yeah. And they're shoved in there, and every time you open the drawer, 10 pairs pop out. Okay, well, let's deal with that. And maybe that's your brain right now. That's how your brain is dealing with all the clutter in your home.
Yeah.
So let's release some of that negative energy. with some Reiki or with some KonMari clearing, and then live a cleaner and simpler life.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you, Shanley. And
we'll send everybody some good energy, and
yeah,
hoping that everybody can be ready when you're ready, reach out, because when you're ready, it will your process will move forward with ease and grace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Well,
So
thank
next
you.
week we're going to talk about Sentimental. Same bat channel, same bat place, same bat time, all those things. You can catch us on Clubhouse first if you want to. We're going to start at
11 your time, 10 mine. Is that
yeah,
good?
that's right. So I'm Eastern and Karen's before that. So 11 Eastern time, go from there. And it's listed on my business webpage as well, or my Facebook business page as well. The invitation is already there. And then we'll pop back onto Facebook here after that and talk about Sentimental as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Great.
And if you want to book me for a discovery call, we'll set the link up.
Do it.
Bye.
Bye.